Coming up next, Abby Grant from Boston University's Center for Digital Arts. Welcome to Picking Up the Pieces, where we dare to persevere. And today we're going to have some wonderful advice on job searching, networking, and how to reach the career of your dreams. Welcome, Abby Grant.
Hi, Kim. How you doing? It's great to be here.
We're so excited to have you back.
Thanks so much. It's great to be here.
You were one of our terrific, really gave us some wonderful advice about networking and about how to really connect with the people who you want to connect with and how to do it in a way that really leaves a wonderful impression on people. So we're really excited to have you back and kind of continue our conversation and give some great tips for people on how to really advance their career in a positive way.
Yeah, and you may recall the last time I was here, I had just gone through a layoff.
Yes.
So I've been laid off 3 times. So the advice I give is advice I've actually used myself, and it really does work. And so when I was here the last time, I had been a recruiter.
Yes.
I was a creative services recruiter. Oh my gosh, it was so much fun. And then I was doing business development for the recruiting firm. Also so much fun. And then guess what? Not so much fun.
Oh.
I got laid off.
Wow.
It was okay. I got a job at the Boston Business Journal, and it was my first day on the job when I was here last time.
That was right.
That was right. And I got that job through making connections and working connections and staying in touch with people. And so I was at the BBJ for a couple of years, and I was leading seminars for people that were looking for jobs, using the Boston Business Journal, thinking like a salesperson, and I thought, you know what? I really like connecting people to work, and where can I go and do that as a full-time job? And so I came up with career services, and so I started making connections and working connections and staying in touch. And anytime I met anyone that was working in career services, I would say, hey, can I come and bring you a coffee and maybe we can get to know each other a little bit and maybe you can give me some advice. And that's how I got my job. So now I'm the Director of Employer Outreach at Boston University's Center for Digital Imaging Arts, and I counsel students on how to find work, and I talk to employers about my fabulous students. It's a pretty fun job.
Wow, fantastic. So it's very interesting, your whole transition, because you were helping people find work, and then you transitioned, and then you were at the BBJ, the Boston Business Journal, and you were connecting people and using your same skills to do the seminars, and then you thought, I really love this piece of the job. And that's how the best kind of evolution happens with people with jobs. They find more of what they love in the job, and then they find a job that, wow, it takes up more of those skills that they really love doing.
Yeah, I think it's very important to step back and think, what am I good at? What am I not good at?
Yes.
What do I like? What do I really hate? And then take those ideas and those personality traits and think, where can I go out and do that? And then your job isn't a job. Then it's something you love and something you're good at, and then you have fun at it.
Right, and you look forward to going to it every day. You know, I love to train young adults. I can't wait to see what they'll learn and what they'll bring. And we did some taping earlier today, and we had some young adults, and they just told fantastic inspirational stories about what they've been through and how they want to help others. And you're like, wow, it's a privilege to be part of.
It's a privilege. And what many of my students, because they're career changers or they're career enhancers, they are people that have gone down this same path of sort of thinking about what am I good at, what am I not good at. And so they're so awesome to work with for the very same reason, because they are doing this because they're passionate about it.
Yes.
And they found what they love. And they're inspiring every day. When I hear some of their stories, they're so much fun to work with.
Yeah, and when someone clicks, when you're with someone and something clicks for them, like, wow, this is what I want to be. I want to be a video editor, or I love to be in web design. And it's so great when you can kind of bring someone's images to life in a way that they're psyched about it.
That's right.
You know, and it's so great to be part of that whole, helping them make the connections and helping them return to work or start work.
That's right. And you can be a cheerleader and a counselor and a coach. But I really think that passion that they bring is really key to what will make them successful.
Yes.
Because think about passionate people. When someone who has a zest and a passion, and I'm not saying an extrovert necessarily, but someone who has a passion, when they come in, you can just feel that energy, and they light up the room, and it energizes everyone.
Yes.
So yeah, so that's key too, in a job search, and then of course in doing your actual job.
Yes, I was just at a meeting the other day, and it was with fantastic young adults, and you could tell they were so passionate. And one of the leaders' names is Ann Kaposha, and she kind of, her presence fills up a room. You know she's passionate about helping young adults, and she's kind of a force to be reckoned with, because when she comes in, people know that she can make changes and she can help young adults, and she knows the system and can work within it, and also knows when to challenge the system, and people just respond to it. She's in her career match, her ideal career match, really. And it's so great to be around people who have found what they love to do and are very effective at it.
Yeah, good for her. That's great. I like to hear about those people.
Isn't it fun? It's fun to be part of that. And that's what I love to do, is to help people find that match. And that's what you're doing with young adults at the Center for Digital Arts, is really helping them figure out, well, what are they good at? What kind of skills do they need to find that right job match?
That's right. And one of the things I tell them when they go out on their job search and I'm coaching them is my story about not asking for a job.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, what am I saying? Don't ask for a job, someone's unemployed?
Right, sounds kind of counterintuitive.
Right, yeah. But if you ask for a job and they're not hiring, what do they say?
One word answer. No, can't talk to you.
Get lost, they don't return your call.
Right.
But if you ask to make a connection and ask for advice, and if the people are helpful, how about that, helpful?
Yeah.
Because everyone's not helpful.
Right, some people, they're just not into it, they don't have the time, there's too much going on, you have to find the helpful people.
You have to find the helpful people. So you're helpful, I'm helpful. If you're doing this type of job search and you find someone who's not helpful, you just move on.
You just move on.
You just move on.
And just to be clear, what we're talking about is an informational interview.
Right, informational interview, or I talk about expanding your network.
Great, okay.
So expanding your network, getting advice. And so you're making a connection with people. You're going to work that connection. And what do I mean by that? You're going to stay in touch with them. And then you're going to stay in touch with them and follow up with them over the course of your job search.
Right, absolutely. I was out at a reunion, like at a high school reunion the other day, and I was talking to someone, and the woman said, well, I'm in the performing arts, but I might want to change and be a teacher of music. And I was like, would you like a suggestion? She said, oh, I would love a suggestion. I'm kind of at this precipice and I don't know what's next. And I said, I think it might be helpful for you to talk to a few teachers who are in that profession. And she was like, that's a great idea. Yeah. And I said, if you offer to buy them a coffee and, and talk to a few people and just say, what do you love about it? What's great about it? What are the challenges? She was like, I'm going to absolutely do that. So it's kind of thinking along those lines. And most people love to talk about themselves.
They love to talk about themselves. And so the way I did, my career change into a recruiter was also a change as well. So I've probably changed my career about 3 times. So I'm sort of an expert on changing. And what I like to say to people when I meet with them and I'm changing is, tell me about how you got to be where you are.
Perfect question.
And tell me about what types of people are successful in this type of role.
That's a nice take. I love that, to take it to the second level, because some people aren't successful at their job and they don't love it. I mean, we all want to be successful, but what kind of personality traits, what positions you to be great at your job?
That's right. And so you can do that when you're doing these advice discussions.
Yes.
You can do that when you're interviewing as well, because the type of person that is successful at a particular company, if you are that type of person, you can craft your responses to show that you're that type of person. If you're not that type of person, that's great information too, though, isn't it?
Yes.
Because we don't want to end up where we're not going to fit in.
Right. You just kind of feel like, I need a creative place where there's creative energy and you make changes. If things are really set in stone, I wouldn't fit in there. I like to kind of push the limits and figure out, well, how do we change things? How do we move forward?
Right.
And you need to know that going in.
That's right. So, and you can find out these sorts of things also in your follow-up with people. So you're making connections, working connections, following up with people and staying in touch. And that's also an opportunity to do creative things and find out about culture too. So I can give you some examples of that as we get going. But yeah, it's a way for you to gather information. It's a chance for you to tell someone about yourself. And then you have a new person in your network that, guess what? If they like you, suddenly you have other people looking for your job for you.
Right.
And that's what happened to me. So when I decided to get into career services, and boy, was I having a lot of coffees, let me tell you. I was running around having a lot of coffees.
You're like, I might have to switch to decaf.
And I was like, okay, I'm bringing another, and I like to bring lattes, green tea lattes. Ooh. And so I was running around doing all of this and meeting these really nice, helpful people. And suddenly, all these people were sending me job descriptions and sending me openings. And I would go to my LinkedIn, and LinkedIn, by the way, we should talk about LinkedIn, but I was getting tips and advice, but jobs. Oh, Abby, call this person and use my name. Abby, call this person and use my name. And the job I have now That's exactly what happened.
Wow.
So my year of having coffees was just, hi, nice to meet you. You know, what advice do you have? What kind of person does well? Getting suddenly flooded with bunches of, you know, job descriptions. And finally, someone I met told someone about me, who told someone at the Center for Digital Imaging Arts about me. He looked at my LinkedIn and called me.
Wow.
And that's how I got my job. I mean, I had to interview,
Right.
you know, but I also did a really creative follow-up. So when I went on my interview, I did not ask for a job. I said to them, you know what, let's just know each other. This is my plan. I'm looking to make a transition into career services. I never asked for the job. I know that's really counterintuitive to job hunting. Didn't ask, said to them, let's just know each other. And they said, you know what, we know you now. Come work with us.
Right.
But before that, I did something very creative in my follow-up. And so I think this is also really key because we want to set ourselves apart, don't we?
Yes, absolutely.
There's millions of resumes coming to these people. So how do we set ourselves apart? After I met with the campus director and one of the executive directors, when I was in their offices, I learned personal things about them, things that we had a connection on. So one of them had prints on wooden boats.
Ooh.
And a friend of mine has a wooden boat, so we talked about wooden boats. Okay, so what, you know. Then the campus director is a hockey player. Well, I have been a field hockey player for many, many years.
Wow.
I just stopped playing. So now I have these two connections. So I talked to them about something personal, went home, we had a book on wooden boats. My husband was going like this with me, but I said, it's mine now, wrapped it up. I wrote a very simple note, thought you would enjoy reading this. And then the campus director, hockey player, I happened to have a hockey puck signed by Bobby Orr. I had a couple of them, so it wasn't like I took the very treasured, you know, one. Wrapped it up and said every hockey player should have a paperweight with Bobby Orr's signature.
Ooh.
Drove back to the school,
Wow.
dropped it off, didn't talk to them, just dropped it off.
Wow.
Well, they called me,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I guess it worked.
Yeah.
But those sorts of things that are very different, how boring to go to your email and write something about synergies and core values and I want to work in a team where I can communicate and yawn, 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 right? Right? So the key to this so also is it needs to be in the context of the type of job that you're looking for, the connection you had. You get it that I'm not saying to drop hockey pucks off for people.
Right, exactly.
What I'm saying is find connections.
And it's also what I want to, because a lot of my young adults are going to watch this. And what I'm not saying is don't send a thank you note. What I'm saying is send a thank you note that's specific. So there's kind of levels. So absolutely send a thank you note.
Yes,
don't
yes.
even bother to apply for a job, if you're, in my opinion, if you're not going to send a thank you note.
That's right.
I love a handwritten note, but if your handwriting's terrible, type out a note and send it in the mail.
Right.
If you can't do that, email it. That's my least favorite preference because people can delete an email
That's right.
very quickly. But at least it's sent, and some people are more email responsive.
That's right.
But I think what you're saying is key is being so specific. I had a young adult send me just yesterday an email that he'd written as a thank you note to someone he had done an informational interview with. And it was a nice thank you note, but it didn't say anything specific. You're right, it said kind of, great to meet with you, thank you for your time, I'll follow up on all your suggestions. And I said, it's a good thank you note, but we need it to be great. You need to mention something specific that that woman told you.
That's right.
That's going to kick you into your job search. And it happened to be that it was about political campaigns, that he should reach out there and look for jobs in there. And I said, that might be something that I had never thought of, that you hadn't, that we will pursue for you. And so he went back and revised the thank you note to make something specific. And you're seeing even take it to the next level. Like, okay, if you really had a connection, you really want to make an impression, find something that you connected with them on.
That's
and
right.
Bring it to another level. And yeah, it's got to be something that
It needs to make sense.
resonates with
Right.
them.
Right. So for me, because the type of jobs I am looking for and tend to work in are outreach roles.
Yes.
So what I need to show, because it needs to be in the context of the type of job.
Exactly. You
I
couldn't
need
do
to
a cowering one, like you couldn't, like
Well,
you couldn't
yeah,
be a
I mean-
person who you have to find jobs for people.
That's right. So I want to show that I know how to set myself apart and get people's attention.
Yes.
The other thing I really like, Kim, is things for follow-up that can sit on people's desks.
Ah.
Because
I love that.
Well, I like it because then when they're doing their work, they look over and what are they going to think of? They think of you.
Yes.
So I also like dropping off, depending if it makes sense, treats, cookies.
Who
It
doesn't
depends.
love cookies? Bring me cookies, I'm
Right.
thrilled.
So I had another creative follow-up when I was interviewing that I did. So I really love men's ties. Okay, that might sound kind of wacky, but remember I go to a lot of networking events and that sort of thing.
I'm a background, I worked at Brooks Brothers for many years, so it makes sense to me. I dressed all my brothers, I was the haberdasher.
Right, so you might like men's ties too. So in the interviews I had with a couple of men, and they had beautiful ties. And so I commented on their ties, and then for my follow-up, I hand wrote notes that matched their ties with candy color coordinated to the color of their ties. Now again, not saying to go buy candy or look at men's ties, whatever you connect to and your thing is that makes sense.
Right.
And so I was going to say, I sort of jumped ahead though in the beginning part of that networking. When you're out networking with people, that's another thing I talk about too, is men's ties. I like men's ties. Right. So for me, this is just a natural thing to play off of or whatever. But so find what your thing is and what you relate to and what you connect to.
Right, and why that is important is people hire people who are like themselves. And we're not saying people hire people of the same color or the same race or even the same ethnicity or the same, wear the same glasses or have the same haircut. But it's about people they feel that they'd like to work with.
That's right.
So it's making that connection and finding that common ground that helps you kind of resonate with that person.
Yeah, I had a student recently, and she's a great candidate, and she's been out interviewing, and there's a company that really likes her, and we just can't get them to move along. Right. And she's been waiting and waiting and waiting, and I said, you know what, let's think of something different and creative that you can drop off. Because that's just a little like, hello, remember me?
Hello, I'm here, in a very nice way.
In a very nice way, not another phone call, not another email, something different. So she said, what do you think if I drop off cookies? And I said, I think it's great. And she said, but what if they don't like it? And I said, now come on, who's not going to like someone dropping off cookies? If they don't like someone who drops off cookies, maybe you don't want to work there.
Right, maybe it's not the right match.
Right, maybe it's not the right match. So she did drop them off. We're still waiting.
Right.
Yeah, we're hopeful. Right. But even if not, and I said to her, even if you don't get this job, now you have more people in your network. Because that's the other part of all this.
Yes.
Is even if you don't get a job, you know, 5 more people.
Right, and that's where I want to step back, because some people say, well, how do I start this? And you can just start it with anyone you know. Take time to get to know them, and you don't know who they know.
That's right. You never know who can lead you to someone else. And that's one of the powers of LinkedIn.
Yes.
By
Let's
the way.
talk about LinkedIn. How would you use LinkedIn? Because some people say, well, how do I begin? So you can start off by just sending an email to everyone you know. Hi, I'm looking to expand my career. Do you know anyone in digital arts? Do you know anyone in film editing? That's an easy way via email to start off.
That's right.
But you can go to events. And you talk about, you kind of have a nice analogy with people you know, people you don't know. Will you walk us through that?
Yeah, sure. And we can talk about LinkedIn. Yeah. So, you know, networking is about who you are and what you can do. And sending resumes out, sitting on your computer and sending out 25 resumes is about that piece of paper and what you've done. So if you meet people and it's about what you can do, think how different that is.
Yes.
And especially if you're a more junior level person, you know, that's going to be a lot about what your potential is.
Yes.
For sure. But even for all of us. So what I say is get out to some networking events, take a friend. There's several different types you can go to. You can go to events where there are people that are like you. So that would be your industry. That might be your alumni groups. Right. Alumni groups are great. That's a no-brainer. People in your industry also, where again, there are people like you. People where there's no one like you. So what would that be? So say you could go to a Boston Chamber of Commerce event.
Which are fantastic networking events.
They're fantastic. The chambers are really good because they often attract small business people. And small business people want you to know them, don't they? Yes. So they're great networkers because when you do this style of job seeking where you say, hey, you know, let's talk about our dogs or our ties or whatever at a networking event, and then you follow up, they very often will meet with you because they want you to know about their business. Right. So they're excellent, but there's a million different types of networking events to go to. So I suggest eventbrite.com as a resource. Right. And you can go and plug in where you live or where you'd like to be networking or what type of networking event you'd like to go to. So start with just going to a networking event. Just get out from behind your computer. That's right. You really have to meet people, and the follow-up is key. You talk about it's important to have cards, absolutely, to give people cards, and you have a few fun places you're going to suggest for us to go to get cards.
But really the key is the follow-up.
The follow-up. So you go to a networking event and what do you say? You say, hi, what brings you here? How easy is that?
Right.
It's not any big pitch or no elevator pitch. If someone asks what you're doing, it's okay to say that you're looking for a job.
Right.
But you're not bringing your resume. You're not on an interview. You're looking to just connect with people. Right. What brings you here? Who can I introduce you to that might be here?
Oh, that's a great one.
Yeah, I like that one too. And so then you have this great connection with someone. You give them your card. You give them your card. And so you can get business cards at Staples, Vistaprint. They're just discounting for job seekers. I like moo.com. They have very cool creative cards. And there's also Zazzle.com.
They're
very
just fun
cool.
to say, Moo and Zazzle.
I know, aren't they
check
fun?
them out, yeah.
Yeah, so you hand them your card. Hopefully they have a card to give to you. And then what happens? You don't go home and wait. You don't go home and wait and say, gosh, she liked me so much, she never called me. You are the person that's looking for something. You're the salesperson. You're the job seeker. Remember that's why we call it seeking? So it's your job to follow up. So how are you going to follow up? So typically what I do at a networking event is I have this nice conversation with someone. I'll say, hey, do you want to connect on LinkedIn? I'll send them an invite on LinkedIn. I'll remind them where I met them, what we talked about.
Ooh.
I'll have a picture on my LinkedIn because someone like me who's visual will not remember someone's name. So that's also key. And then you say, then you have to go for the real thing. Right. By the way, I'm wondering if I could meet with you for a few minutes, I won't take too much time, and get some advice and find out how you got into your career because I'd like to do what you're doing.
Wow.
Really simple. Right. Really simple. You're not asking for a job. There's no asking, except you're asking for advice. And helpful people will respond.
Right, they love to talk about themselves, they love to be able to help you, and if you ask for a job, it shuts down the conversation. No, we're not hiring here.
That's right. Or they don't want to call you back because guess what? It's hard to call someone back and tell them you don't have a job.
No one wants to say that they don't have anything for you, but certainly everyone can tell their story.
Right, there's rejection. And let me give you one more example of that because I go to a lot of networking events and I have an undergraduate degree from UNH and a master's from Emerson, and any of those populations that reach out to me, I'll get in touch with. And it's, maybe they're not going to a networking event, but they're looking to network. And so I want to give you two scenarios of phone calls, if that's okay. One is this. Hi, Abby, I'm Sue. I'm a recent grad from UNH. I'm looking for an informational interview. Would you have some time? I'd like to see if there's a job there. Oh, now I got to call her back because there's no job here.
Right.
But how about this one? Hi, Sue, I'm Abby. I went to UNH just like you. I'm wondering if we could get together and get some advice. And gee, I'd love to talk about what dorm you lived in when you were at UNH.
Right, you're like, can't wait to call her back.
I know, I want to call her back. But see, so that's also follow-up.
Right.
That's creative and putting it out there and doing something different. And so those things work.
So, and I think that's very important. And Abby, we absolutely have to have you back because we're at the end of our time
we're out
here.
of time?
I know.
Oh,
so
darn.
I know we could do a whole one on LinkedIn because everyone's always asking me about LinkedIn.
I would love to.
And you have some great strategies. So I would just like to put up for more information. I know we have this great new thing where we put up the actual person's website.
Oh,
it's
that's
pretty
great.
Cool.
Yeah, I love our website.
Yeah, it's very fun. So people can get more information about what you do. And absolutely, if they wanted to talk to you, you would be happy to,
Absolutely. Yeah, anyone that would like to reach out to me, the number's on the website.
Yep.
We're doing a series of career services blogs on our website, and you can check that out and get some job tips that way. But absolutely, anyone that would like to come bring me a coffee, that would be great.
That would be great on the other side. Fantastic.
I would love that.
And we should mention we are going to be on LinkedIn. We are going to be on YouTube, so people can look for us. Yeah, so that would be very fun.
Great.
So I'd like to say thank you very much, Abby, and we definitely will have you back on to get more in depth about some of these strategies. But I know we've given a lot of inspiring tips for people out there to really reach the career that they're looking to achieve.
I hope so. And my final words would be who you are, and then you shine.
Ooh,
be who you are.
Be who you are. I love that.
Great.
Well, fantastic. Thank you very much, Abby Grant from the Center for Digital Arts.
Thank you.
Thank you very much to our audience for tuning in to Picking Up the Pieces. Thank you to the Department of Mental Health for sponsoring us. And we'd like you to say, reach out to that someone who might just be looking to reach their full potential. It's Kim Bissett saying, have a great day.